Frederick, what's your points on the topic forgiveness?
So this is the medicine. Forgiveness is an ancient practice that's been practiced by many people. A lot of people believe that forgiveness is a path of weakness. Am I just going to lay myself over? That motherfucker fucked me over. You know what I mean? People don't really want to forgive. They're like, what the fuck? What do you mean forgive? Forgive that motherfucker for breaking my leg. Forgiving the other day there was a thing that happened in here in a court case. A police officer killed a guy, and the guy in the courtroom stood up, hugged the police officer, says, "I forgive you for killing my brother." It was one of the most powerful thing on the news, and it just changed things around, and people wonder what the hell's going on? I want to kill that fucking cop who killed my brother or whatever, right? So people immediately go into vengeance. But when you harbor these emotions of vengeance towards other people, or anger or hate, the problem is that people don't see is that they're saying, I don't want to forgive your fucking ass because you're a fucking asshole. But what they forget is they are imprisoning themselves. Forgiveness actually means forgiving, being forgiving, okay? So if you are not into forgiveness, you're foretaking. You're holding things on, you're taking things, and by taking things, you are carrying the burden. That motherfucker doesn't have to carry it, but you are harboring these negative emotions for a long time. So you think in your little mind that you are forgiving that person and setting them free. But they need to pay back, I get it, but the reality is you are holding yourself into that negativity. You are trapping yourself into that realm. When you are forgiving yourself, and forgiving the other person, you're basically purifying yourself. The first thing you have to do is to forgive yourself for even being pissed off. Forgiving yourself for holding all that fucking negativity inside of you, because it's hurting you. It's hurting you much more than the other person. And so forgiveness, you could say, is a purification practice. It's a way of returning to the natural state of being, of innocence. Forgiveness is the path back to our innocence. So it's basically being forgiving, being generous enough, being powerful enough, because you're a weak motherfucker if you can't forgive. That's what you don't understand. You're not strong. You don't have inner strength. Inner strength comes from people that can forgive. They have the ability to forgive because they can give, you see? They have the energy to give. And I'm a little bit old school. So I'm a little bit Viking-ish and Nordic. So for me, just the whole Jesus thing, I get it, but I'm more into something called the guild. I don't know, the Gjeld på svenska. I don't know what the fuck it's called, making amends, basically, in English. So let's say I say, oh, forgive me, Victor, I did this to you, blah, 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 blah. I'm not quite into that, because everybody can diarrhea out forgiveness. I'm into getting back into the right relation. If I've forsaken someone and I did something wrong, and I know it to be wrong to someone, I'm into forgiving, but I'm also into making things right. Sometimes action speaks larger than words. So just babbling on and saying, oh, can you please forgive me? Or let's forgive, that doesn't always work. If you know that you have disrupted a relationship and you have fucked up, the honorable, noble thing to do is to make amends. Basically, go to the other person and say, how the fuck can I serve you? I fucked up your time, I fucked up this, I did whatever I did. How can I make amends? How can I make it up to you? The person can say, you can't, or fuck you, or whatever. But at least you came with a forgiving heart, a heart that was able to give, and you said, I'm willing to make amends. Tell me what to do. How can I make things better? Because you got to back up that forgiveness with action sometimes. That's more my old school way of looking at things, because sometimes it's just like forgiveness. I'm not into that. That's kind of sackless. But if you have ball sack, what you do is you say, okay, how can I I fucked you over, Victor. I know our relationship has been disrupted. How can I make it up to you? I do not want to jeopardize our brotherhood. I don't want to do this. I understand you're upset with me, and You know, I have a hard time forgiving myself at the moment. I'm working on it, but how can I make things right? That's nobility. That's true honor. So forgiveness is also connected to, you know, more than just blah 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 blah. You know, so if you're sitting out there and you have not forgiven yourself, there's someone you have to forgive right now. It's Christmas. There's someone that you know, you're holding a grudge with. Just close your eyes. Forgive that person. Forgive yourself for trapping that person in this tension of yours. Because the only thing it's doing is hurting the other person, it's hurting you. So let it go, man. Just let it go. Find a way to let it go and cleanse yourself of that negativity so you can rise above that shit and see a different perspective. Because as long as you're not in forgiveness, you are trapped in a narrow piece of mind. I have spoken.